You're listening to Infinite TBR, the podcast where we try not to buy more books. I'm Smack.
And I'm Gabby. Spoiler alert! We're going to avoid major spoilers, and when we can, warn when we're going to discuss a particular book in detail so you can avoid that part of the episode. You can also check the show notes for time-stamped flags identifying potential spoilers.
Future Gabby here. This episode is going to pick up pretty much exactly where the last episode left off. I had just finished going through all of my recent reads, ending with a lengthy freakout over Tomorrow and Tomorrow and Tomorrow by Gabrielle Zevin, and now Smack is about to go into her recent reads. So that was that. And those are all my books, and now it's your turn.
Okay, so I'm halfway through The Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo by Somebody Reid.
Somebody wants.
No. No. The Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo by Taylor Jenkins Reid. And it came out in 2017, so it's very possible anyone listening has already read it. It was very popular.
Big at the time.
Yeah, it was very popular. It's popular enough that, like, I was on a waiting list at the library.
Still.
7 or 8 people still.
And it's 2024.
The premise is this woman who's, she's in like her 40s. She has just been divorced. She lives in New York. Her husband, ex-husband, has moved out to San Francisco. And it wasn't really like a big falling out. It was more of like, I didn't move out there for him and he didn't stay here for me. Mm-mm. And like her career isn't really going anywhere. She has a job as a writer at this place that's like the equivalent of Vogue. But like she doesn't have a whole lot of control over what she's writing, and she's not really advancing her career in any meaningful way. And then one day, out of the blue, her boss calls her into the office and says that Evelyn Hugo, who is the Hollywood starlet equivalent of Marilyn Monroe if Marilyn Monroe had lived and continued to be as colorful as she was, wants an interview with you. And we tried to send our more senior editors and writers. Her people just flat out said, no, the only person she wants to be interviewed by is you. Do you have any connections to her? Is that what's happening? And the main character, Monique, is like, no. And she checks with her mother, and her mother's like, no, we don't, you know.
Who?
Yeah. Your dad probably did pictures of her, because her dad, who's passed, took pictures on Hollywood sets. I don't remember why. There's no meaningful connection that her mother knows of. And so Monique goes over to meet Evelyn Hugo, and they chat. Then it turns out that Evelyn wants Monique to write her biography, not just like she got Monique there sort of under false pretenses by promising the magazine that Monique works for that like she'll be on the cover, she'll do like an exclusive, when Evelyn has no intention of working with the magazine at all. She just wants this one particular woman to write her biography. And her reason for giving this, she won't tell Monique why it's her, but her reason for giving her life story to a journalist at this point is that everyone else is dead. I can't hurt anyone else by telling the whole truth, which she has never done. And I am halfway through. I know, right? And honestly, for like I'm at the halfway point. I don't really care about the sections with Monique. Like, she's fine. She's sort of boring. Evelyn is fascinating. And it's told in first person, but it goes back and forth between Monique in present day and Evelyn telling her story to Monique.
But both are in first person.
Right.
Okay.
And so at the halfway point, Evelyn chooses to do something, it's distasteful, and she doesn't regret it, but she really doesn't want to do it either. Mm-hmm. And so the narrative goes from first person of Evelyn speaking to Monique, but also to us.
Right.
It goes from first person to second person. So this is how you do this. You go this way, you talk to this guy, you pretend to say this, but really you mean that. And so I had to stop and break for a shower at that point. I had to get ready for bed. And so I was standing in the shower thinking about the distances between the various points of view. Because a lot of people, just out of personal preference, don't like second person. They find it distracting. They think it's very distancing. I used it in a short story I had published a while ago, because I've always found it very immediate.
Yeah.
But there's already this distance, even in first person, between Evelyn and us. There's Monique in the middle. And so when Evelyn uses second person to Monique, she is putting up this shield between her and Monique and us. And
That's so interesting because I think the couple times the second person has come up for me in reading, it always seems to have the opposite effect, where I feel like I'm being told you're making these decisions, and part of me is like, no, I don't. That's not the decision I would make.
Yeah.
No.
And there is that, but there's also, like, I've never had this response to second person before. And I think it's because we've been going back and forth between these two women. And even in Monique's point of view, Evelyn is so forthright. If she doesn't want to tell you something, she'd say, I'm not going to tell you that. Ask me something else. So she doesn't lie about anything, but she doesn't sugarcoat it. And if she doesn't want to talk about it, she doesn't talk about it. But this second person part, she doesn't want to talk about it. She has to talk about it. And
this is her way of distancing herself.
Yeah.
Okay.
And creating
I can see as the
veil.
person executing the second person, that creates distance between the actions and the person.
And so as I was thinking about, like, the various distances between Evelyn and us and various points of view in different books and stuff, I realized I'm pretty sure I know what the twist is.
Future Gabby here. In constructing her argument for what she thinks the twist is, Smack does get into some spoilers, so if you want to skip over spoilers for the 7 husbands of Evelyn Hugo, you're going to want to fast forward to about the 15-minute and 30-second mark, because we're also going to mention whether or not Smack was correct.
And I'm pretty sure...
Tell me.
So I was thinking about the way Evelyn hides parts of herself. And the bits of information we've gotten about Monique's dad, who died.
Do we know how he died?
I don't think so. It wasn't traumatic or anything.
Okay.
He died.
Okay.
And at the halfway point, we're up to husband number 3? 4?
Are they happening in real time? Or is that part of the backstory?
That's part of the backstory.
Okay.
So she's like 79 when Monique starts interviewing her. So she's had 7 husbands. None of them were the love of her life.
Not even the 7th one?
Not even the 7th one. And one of them, we know very early on, because they give us the names of all of her husbands. So when they get mentioned through the text, you're like, oh yeah, you can look back, that's husband number 5 or whatever. I'm pretty sure husband number 5 was gay. It was either 4 or 5. They're best buds. They apparently have a child together, so I don't know how that happened yet. So I was thinking about the ways that, the things that Evelyn doesn't say, and how she avoids lying by not saying things. And so, her first husband, she was super, super poor in Hell's Kitchen in the 60s, late 50s. And she had just turned 15, and she got her abusive dad to sign off on her marrying this 18-year-old who was leaving Hell's Kitchen and going to LA. Because her mother, who had died when she was 11, was like, we're going to go to Hollywood. I'm going to become a star. And then her mother died, and her father was like getting creepy as she developed. And she's like, I have to get out of here. Either he's going to beat me to death or he will rape me. So whatever. This other guy's going to LA. That's what I want. And so she has this like 1.5-year long marriage. She divorces him when she's 18 because her career starts to pick up. She's half Cuban, I believe. And so she dyes her hair blonde. She gets her teeth fixed. She like starts wearing different clothes and letting makeup and hair take care of her. But in order for her career to keep going, she has to divorce this guy who got her out of Hell's Kitchen. And then she doesn't really talk about him anymore. And I think Monique is his kid. I think that she had a kid with this guy and just didn't add it to the story that she's telling Monique. Just completely omitted it.
So her mom wouldn't be her mom.
Right. And a part of why I think this is because later on...
I'm surprised that wouldn't have come up when she was like, hey mom, what's our connection?
Well, her mother is going to come out to New York as like a post-divorce, are you okay thing? But also, her mother didn't plan the trip until she heard that Monique was interviewing Evelyn Hugo. So like... Yes. Tap your fingertips together. So, and also because her second marriage, she doesn't want to have a kid because it'll mess with her career. But like they need to, she and her husband, like their maid said something horrible to the tabloids and it got published. And so they have to create a sense of sympathy in the public. And so her solution to that was to very noisily, in front of the maid that they had not yet fired, present it as though like she'd had another miscarriage. Like she's been having miscarriages. They're trying to start a family, but it's not working. and, you know, feel bad for us. And Evelyn jumps to miscarriage so much faster than everyone else in the scene as, like, a possible solution. And at the time, you're like, wow, she's just really thinking on her feet. She's got this. She is, because she does have this very cutthroat awareness of how to get what she wants from who she wants it from. And so at the time, you're just kind of like, wow, that'll do it. But I think she's had a kid by that point. I think she's had a kid by that point, hasn't told anyone.
Now I need to talk to our number one fan, Laura, and say, tell me what happens in Evelyn Hugo.
I almost texted Laura while I was reading this last night, and then I was like, no, I don't want to know.
Future Gabby here. For those who are dying to know whether Smack was correct, she was not. But nice try, Smack.
I'll just keep reading. But also, I haven't read any of it today because, like, the distasteful thing is going to have this huge fallout, and it's going to be really sad, and it's probably going to change the course of her life, and it just...
Do you know what the distasteful thing is?
Well, I guess I'm telling you everything else, yeah. So, after husband number 2, who knocks her around, it's like she married Don Draper, or, like, Brad Pitt or something, or George Clooney, who has, like, this lineage of Clooneys in Hollywood, and he's... Like, she loves him, and it's a really messed up relationship, but, like, he knocks her around. By the end, they sort of hate each other. And when she catches him cheating and goes home in a huff and is going to serve him with divorce papers, but he does it first, and then she gets, like, blackballed from Hollywood. And, because, you know, it's the 60s, and she divorced George Clooney or whatever.
Right.
So, after breaking with him, she and her best friend get together. Female best friend. Mm-hmm. Like, Celia is the love of her life. None of these husbands. Right. But it's the early 60s, and so they have to be really, really careful, and they can't move in together, and then Celia has this place in Palm Springs where they can go over the weekends and not be, like, stalked by paparazzi. But there's this one moment where they go out to a show for this musician who's, like, a huge fan of Evelyn, and he gives her free tickets, and so she and Celia and their secretly gay friend come with, and he's supposed to be, like, the buffer. But, like, there's this moment when she takes her girlfriend's hand, and then realizes, oh, I can't do that in public. And then realizes that someone watched her take her friend's hand and realized that she shouldn't do that in public. And then the woman turns around and talks to her husband, who turns around and looks at them. And Evelyn panics. Like, absolutely starts, like, pretending she's totally there for the musician and everything. And then a couple of weeks later, she tells Celia, I'm going to get him to elope with me. That's the only way that we can actually squash these rumors while they're still small. And Celia is so idealistic. And she's like, no, I'd give this all up for you. Wouldn't you give this all up for me?
Right.
And Evelyn's like, yes, but I have been destitute before, and I'm not doing that, and I'm not doing it to you. You are early enough in your career, you just won your first Oscar, everybody's saying you could win more. Like, I won't do that to you either. So I'm going to take the spotlight off of us and put it on me so that they call me, like, a tart and a trollop and impulsive, but, like, me being a lesbian won't fit that narrative anymore. So we as a couple will be safe. And so, like, the second person point of view is her going to an LA club with this guy, and they're getting drunk, and then she goes, let's go to Vegas, and he gets a plane, and they go to Vegas, and they're playing craps, and they're winning. And she waits for him to say, we should get married, because she won't put out. And she's like, we can't get married. Can we get married? Let's get married. And so, like, they get married, they sleep together, and, like, she's explaining, like, it has to be bad. Like, she has to just lie there. Like, just let your ego take it. It has to be bad for him to want to annul it in the morning. And that's as far as I got. And I just... And, I got to the point where she's like, when this is over... And I get to go home to the person I actually want to be sleeping with, in the bed I want to be sleeping in, I am going to have to tell her again how much I love her, how much I cherish her, how wonderful she is, how central to my life she is, and they're going to break up after this. Yikes. They're going to break up, but, like, they're in each other's lives for the rest of their lives. It's going to be awful. It's so good, though. It's so good! It's, like, I've been reading all these, like, mediocre romantic fantasy books.
I love these back-to-back books in genres that, like,
neither of us are, like...
And we're both dead-eye staring, being like, it was so good, though.
I know. It's so good. it's just like the writing isn't even incredible, but like Evelyn is fascinating. Like I can't look away. And oh my god. And so I'm hoping like the modern day stuff with Monique will eventually be that interesting as well. But like, and she's not even going to really regret it because it will take care of Celia. So it'll be one of those things where like they'll probably have a fight about it later and she'll be like, I would do it again. And Celia will take that very poorly. But it's really good. You guys should do it for your book club. If Kat can do tomorrow and tomorrow and tomorrow, your dad would like Evelyn Hugo for sure. And I think your mom
I think he
might.
has it already.
Okay.
So I don't know that my mom would. Depends on how likable the characters are. And it doesn't sound like they're particularly likable.
I mean, Evelyn's likable in...
Mom also likes people she can like wholeheartedly.
Yeah, not wholeheartedly. She's complicated. She is one of the most unapologetically complicated female characters I've gotten to read in a while.
I'm getting the rest of the tea from Laura.
No! No! Don't tell me! That's why you're giving me this weird look.
I'm not gonna tell you.
Oh, God.
She hasn't said anything yet, don't worry.
Okay, good.
Oh, I'm gonna...
Don't tell me what she does say. I don't want to know.
I'm not gonna make faces at you. It'll be fine. I just wanted to share that, like, out of blue, like, I did this by saying, tell me what the twists are in Evelyn Hugo with some emojis. And she just sends back, OMG, who are you? And I had to explain that I'm not going to read it, but you're telling me what your predictions are, and I want to know, and now I'm not going to look so that I don't give it away with my face. Okay.
Oh my god. Okay, so that's the best thing I've been reading recently.
Yay!
What else have I read?
And you're in the middle of that.
I am in the middle of it. But, like, I picked that one partially because I knew it was, like, a queer romance, and I will be writing a queer romance shortly, and...
Is it a romance, per se?
Well, I knew there was lesbianism in it. So, like...
Right.
It'll be very different. Like, mine's gonna be a cute little...
Is this the gargoyle one?
Yeah.
Okay.
And
Evelyn's
romances are not cute.
Only cute. Only cute all the time.
They're all complicated and wonderful.
And
I love
now,
all
if
of
it's a
them.
book club book, like, now I know all the stuff. Well, I know your predictions for it. I'm gonna get the actual tea from Laura, so it won't be as fun as a book club book for me.
Well,
but
I was thinking because
it'll be fun for
it's
different
like a
reasons.
secretly queer book, sort of.
Right.
Slide that in.
Wink. I like the like very also aggressive heteronormative title, and then slip in seven husbands.
Yeah, that's the whole
Husband.
point. Yeah, it's so weird.
Gotcha.
And like, as I was reading it the other day, I was thinking like, I need to read Siren Queen by Nevo after this, which is like,
Oh yeah,
golden era Hollywood with
Great Gatsby
magic or something.
Mm.
And then yesterday evening, I came downstairs to like fill up my water, and my mother was watching the Meghan and Harry documentary on Netflix, and like it was just a lot of
Parallel.
abuse of celebrities.
Mm.
And so I woke up this morning and I was like, maybe I'll start Emily Wilde's Encyclopedia of
Fairies
Fairies by Heather Fawcett. That wasn't this morning. That was last night before I went to bed.
which my friend Maria really liked.
Yeah, it's got really good reviews
Yeah.
online. And I put a hold on the sequel about 1,000,000 years ago because I was like,
And it's coming.
there are 14 people ahead of me. I have plenty of time. And now it's listed as in transit to my public library. So I have to read the first one. And then I'll get it to you.
Yay.
Because it's yours.
Yay. Anything else? That was only one for you.
If you are...
What else is on your list?
I mean, like, a lot of the books I've been reading, I really liked the Cat Holloway murder mysteries in Victorian England.
Okay.
The first one. The first official novel of the series is called Death Below Stairs.
Oh yeah, those.
But
You're really
there's
excited
a
about that.
prequel novella called, like, a soupçon of poison. And it's listed as, like, number 0.5 of the
Right.
series. But, like, you should definitely read that one first.
Okay. Good.
It's like $2 as an ebook. So I read that, and I read, what is it, 1, 2... So I've read the first 3 of those, and I have the next 3 as library books, but I had to take a break for something different.
Right.
Yes.
But you're enjoying those?
Yeah, they're fun. The premise is Cat Holloway is a cook for fancy families in Victorian England. And so there's a lot of upstairs, downstairs etiquette, and she's very much a stickler for the rules. But, like, there's all these, like, great side characters. Like, one of Lady Cynthia is this woman who, she's not trans, but she feels very stifled by the expectations and the attire that women have to wear. So she runs around London in men's clothing and causes, like, she and her friend Bobby, who is a trans man, spend their evenings trying to crash gentlemen's clubs.
Amazing. Good.
Yeah.
Love that.
Love them. And so, like, she and Kat have sort of, like, this unconventional friendship, because Kat doesn't approve of friendships with employers, but also, like, Lady Cynthia is, like, unconventional in every single way.
Right.
And so, like, she helps look out for Kat when, like, people with power start to, like, fuck with her and try to get her fired and stuff. And there's this, like, super, super slow burn romance.
Too slow?
Like, I mean, like, as slow as I could possibly hope for.
Okay.
Like, they've kissed a couple of times. I'm on book 3. And they work really well together. And this guy, his name is Daniel, and he's super mysterious. And for a couple books, she thinks he works for the police because he has all this pull. She got arrested, even though it clearly wasn't her who murdered her employer. And he got her out in, like, a day. And he has connections to all sorts of different classes and professions in and around London. And he comes and goes as he pleases.
Suspiciously well connected.
Yeah, he can dress as a lord or, like, a laborer. And so, like, she thinks he's with the police for a while. Because they rescue Queen Victoria from a bomb. And they solve murders. And they kind of, yeah.
Amazing.
Yeah. And at the end of the 3rd book, she says, "Are you at the Home Office?" Which is closer to what I was thinking. And he's like, "No."
What's a home
office? Basically. Just denies everything by agreeing to everything.
I'm an actor.
Yeah, yeah. So I would have said, like, MI5, which I think is the same as the Home Office.
I was going to say, I thought that was the Home Office.
But we also, like, because he can move between the different, like, classes so easily, and he says he was at Cambridge, not that he studied there, but he's friends with a bunch of, like, alumni from Cambridge.
Isn't that also, like, how British people say that too, though?
Right. But, like, there's the way she said it, where she was like, you were at Cambridge, and he was like, yeah, I was in Cambridge.
Oh, something like that. I see.
So, like,
I see.
So, like, he never answers anything straight on. I think he's probably, like, some duke's bastard son who, like, works off the books or something. But there are, like, 9 books. So, like...
And you're in it to win it.
I'm in it to win it. I'm pacing myself. Because I've found that if I just...
Are there more in between novellas?
I don't,
or is it too much just
there's, like, a holiday one.
Oh, okay.
And, like, yeah. But I found if a series is longer than 5 books, like, I lose interest no matter how much I like it. So I'm pacing myself.
It's a long time to be in the same world.
Yes. Yeah.
No matter what.
And I think the only other time that, in recent memory, that I've managed to just go all the way was when I was reading those Dorinda Jones books. The
ones you're
First Grave on the Right?
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah, so that's like 13 books.
Right.
And those, I don't know why, I was just so obsessed. They weren't even amazing, but, like, I just couldn't stop, which was fun. But now I know to pace myself. I do actually want to get, like, the 9th book for Cat Holloway just came out.
Yeah.
Which is why I heard of this story. And then it turns out the library has all of them, thank God. Although the 4th one is only available at the library in large print, which will be very odd.
That is odd. I don't think I've ever read one of those before.
Not on purpose.
I don't think even on accident. I don't think I've, like, ended up with one of those before.
Yeah. It was the only option they had.
If I've even ever cracked
because none of the others are available in large print. It's just, like, book.
That's really weird.
Right? Somebody was not paying attention.
Are you getting these all from the county library or from the city library?
The city library. Sorry.
No.
Okay.
I have a county library account. I could do it if I wanted to. I would just have to,
I just don't want to.
I would have to... There isn't a county location close to me. But there's one close to you, so I would just time my visits.
Yeah. I mean, we have 3 within, like, very easy driving distance.
They're very much, like, very clearly outside the bubble that surrounds the city of San Diego. So I just have to break.
Yep.
Go 30 minutes in any direction and I'll find one.
I think that's
the only ones worth mentioning. Because you said you were on a kind of a mediocre kick.
Yeah, I mean, I really liked... The other one I really liked was...
There were those Mallory Dunlin ones you were
enjoying. Yeah, I was gonna...
Mm.
You said something about tomorrow, and I was like, oh, that's just like in the Mallory Dunlin. I don't remember what it was.
Let me just rehash the entire tomorrow spiel from the beginning. So there were these two kids.
I don't remember what it was, but yes, I read something trapped in a basilisk's gaze or something. And that was actually an arc that I got. Caught in the Basilisk's Gaze. And that's the 4th book in her series Monsters of Faery. They're all monster romances.
Did you read the other ones?
I have not.
I thought, did you not? Did you get an ebook of The Gardener and the Water Horse?
No, that's a paperback. I handed it to you today.
Oh, okay.
That's her first series. So she's got 3 books out in one series.
I forgot about this one.
So I first heard of Mallory Dunlin from like one of those freebie things you get, and it was a novella called How to Slay a Dragon, which just like
the most incredible cover,
the most ridiculous cover I've ever seen in my life. And I was just sort of half skimming through all the freebies I got, and like this one was that's the first one I stopped and read all the way through because it was really good. Even with its ridiculous cover.
Yay!
And so then I looked up...
did you send that one to me? Or did I already have it?
I don't know.
I remember we were all talking about it. And
I didn't send it.
Don't make a note. I'll figure it out.
So I read How to Slay a Dragon, and then I ordered the paperbacks for The Gardener and the Water Horse, which is a Kelpie romance.
Kelpie!
And the second one... Like, I got halfway through and then life intervened. I had to go on trips and stuff. The second one is called The Sorceress and the Incubus. And the third one is called The Changeling and the Dragon, I think. But anyway, I'm really enjoying them. Everyone has this super tortured, angsty backstory. And no one has access to therapy. So, like, specifically for Caught in the Basilisk's Gaze.
I think that one's... Yeah, that's a different series.
Yes, it's a different series. So that one's the Monsters of Faery. The other one is like...
So I assume you can't read...
Something...
Or you can read them out of order,
yes.
It sounds like.
And I wasn't
sure that way.
And the beginning of Caught in the Basilisk... just going to call it the Basilisk one.
The Basilisk one.
I can't keep doing all those S's.
Even saying it without the S's is hard to say.
Okay, so the Basilisk one is number 4 in the series.
Right.
And I got to read an advanced reader copy, which authors and publishers hand out before the book is published in order to like garner reviews.
Woo! Build hype!
Yeah, and this one I had only read How to Slay a Dragon and The Gardener and the Water Horse at that point. And I got approved to get the arc, and it was like 550 pages. Whereas the other one, like, How to Slay a Dragon is a novella.
Right.
The Gardener and the Water Horse is barely more than a novella. And then I got this giant e-file, and I was like... There's no way I'm going to actually enjoy this, but I did.
Yay!
I loved it. I loved how long it was. I loved that at one point they talk, like, the main female character asked, like, why are there no therapists in Faery? And there's like
you guys could use one.
Because I could use one. You definitely need one.
What we're all thinking every time we read a fairy romance.
And there was like a reason. Like a reasonable reason. It was very, like,
amazing.
I'm glad she addressed that. And it was, because it was interesting in that, like, I said this in my review, but I liked how the settings kept changing. So they would be in one setting and things would get really intense, and then they'd have to leave or flee. And then, yay, we're safe in this new place. Oh no, things are getting worse. Oh, we have to leave again. And so that happens probably 4 times, and it helps to frame the narrative. Because as they move to these new settings, their relationship still changes. Because it's like fleeing from archers who are just sort of after whoever's out there together is a different experience than fleeing with someone that you weren't, like, you caused a terrible problem and you have to go. And the other person is like, yep, I'm coming. We're going to make this work. No questions asked. And so, like, their relationship changes so radically throughout the book that it's just absolute. And, like, I'm rereading it very slowly because I want to, like...
You're rereading it.
I know, I started.
Yay!
I want to know, like, it's long, but there are no parts that really drag. Everything is necessary for each of their emotional...
Arcs.
Their arcs. Because they are fucked up, man.
They need therapists.
They need therapists so badly. And, like, at the beginning, the main trope used to advertise this one is the mate rejection one. Like, they're soulmates,
Right.
but one of them doesn't want to be soulmates. Oh, and the other trope is fuck or die. Because he's a basilisk, and so every 3 days they have to fuck, or, like, his gaze will kill her or something.
Wow.
I know.
Wow.
So, like, it's this ridiculous premise.
Right.
But it's, like, really good emotional work and fascinating world building. And some of it was kind of confusing at the beginning, and I don't know if that's because it was the 4th in a series and I was supposed to know stuff already, or if it was just, like, we didn't... By the midpoint, I knew everything I needed to know about the world, but, like, the beginning was...
So is the beginning making more sense on a reread?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, the beginning makes perfect sense on a reread, which I'm sure was part of the problem when she was finishing it up. But yeah, it's a monster romance with all the ridiculousness associated with the monster romance, but also it's, like, actual literature.
Yeah!
Just, like,
and those things can coexist. So
yes.
there.
I'm just so deeply impressed by it.
Yay.
And it, like, the final battle bit, like, she's clearly just, like, picking all of her favorite tropes. Burn it all down to the ground, rescue somebody, and then there's this thing called a land duel, where, like, the fairies, especially the court fairies, are tied to the land they live on. And so the main character takes a bunch of fairy drugs to, like, power herself up. Like, way more than is, like, recommended or healthy.
More than recommended by her doctor.
Yes, and goes to rescue somebody. And...
Let's go.
Yeah, basically, she jumps off of a dragon in midair, uses the magic to, like, create a crater, but, like, not, like, break her legs as she lands. And then she fights off this woman who owns, quote-unquote, the land by, like, just using all this fairy drug magic to just turn her into, like, mush. And then, like, using this incredible magic to just carve a hole through the building because she can't find a door.
You know, when you can't find a door,
she's just like, fuck
next
it.
thing.
And so it's got this great ending and really interesting relationships throughout the middle of it. And I really loved it.
Yay.
I'm reading it again. And I really loved the How to Slay a Dragon.
And the Gardener and the
Gardener and the Water Horse. That one, you can tell it was her first full novel because it's sort of rough around the edges craft-wise. But it's still good.
Very much under the impression that was, like, her most recently released novel.
The Basilisk was.
Right.
Yeah.
But when you sent the screenshot showing you had purchased it, I was under the impression that was, like, a really recent release. But I guess not.
Basilisk?
No, The Gardener and the Water Horse.
No, that was... I don't know what year that was, but it was a couple of years ago.
Wait, so it was that was her first? Or How to Slay the Dragon was?
I don't think How to Slay a Dragon was her first. I think that's just, like, her latest, like, here's a free book. Come read the rest of my books.
Gardener's way shorter than I thought it was.
Is
Also,
way
it doesn't
thinner?
seem shorter.
Yeah. I think that might be her...
What?
Anyway.
Irrelevant!
She releases pretty quickly. She's an independent writer.
Yeah, she's got a bunch of stuff.
So she gets to release whenever she wants. Whenever she can, basically.
Good for her.
Yeah.
Get it.
And the only downside is that it's all in Kindle Unlimited.
No!
So, like, you can get
hard
the Kindle
copies?
version. That's why I have paperbacks.
Oh, do you have paperbacks of all these?
Of everything but just the Gardener and the Water Horse, the Sorceress and the Incubus, and the Changeling and the Dragon. And then I have an e-copy of Basilisk because that's what she was giving away for free. But I don't have any of the other Monsters of Fairy books yet.
And the Changeling and the Dragon is its own thing. Sorceress and Incubus is its own thing.
They're all in the same world, but they're very loosely connected.
And then the ones that seem to be a series are the ones that include the Basilisk one.
The Monsters of Faery ones
Right.
are, like, in Basilisk, they meet and hang out with some characters from the Raven Prince one, which is, like, number 2 or something. And so, one of the things about the world building that threw me in the Basilisk one, the first go-around, was the mention of all these different fairy courts. There's the Windswept Court, there's the Stag Court, there's the Raven Court, there's, like, the Cloud Court, like, any kind of fancy, frivolous word you can come up with, there's a court for it.
And there's a good chance a lot of those courts have backstories that came up in the other ones.
And so, like, the Windswept Court is ruled by people who were in the Raven Court, which was the Raven Prince book.
Got it.
And, like, so there's, you know, it doesn't all hold together, but some of them show up in other books.
So are you going to get more?
Yes. But I have 9
More
library
paperbacks?
books. Probably. I mean, unless you give me a Kindle
Are you going to look
that we can share.
Oh, I forgot to grab the Kindle! Dang it! I have one ready to just give to you, I think.
Okay.
I actually still need
There's
to
no rush. I
clean it
do
and
have
charge it.
9 library books I
And
have to read.
And I have the one that I was going to give to you to load with your stuff to give to me. And then when my mom finally gives me the one that she still has, that's the one that I'm going to load up my stuff. Yeah. I mean, we're not gaming the Kindle system.
You know what? Amazon can suck it.
We're not breaking any rules.
I don't think we are.
No, we're not. I mean that in earnest. We are breaking no rules.
And
they got all the money for them.
When e-readers started coming out, I read this article that broke down, like, how much lithium the batteries need, and, like, is it actually greener to have ebooks than paperback books? And if you have more than 50 ebooks on a device, it's
have and then actually read them.
What?
If you have instead of buying.
Yes. If you have instead of buying 50 ebooks,
I'm just thinking of all the books
e-reader.
I'm sitting on my Kindle.
I know. But, like, it's better they sit on your Kindle than on your desk.
Yeah.
So,
yep.
Or the floor.
So, you might be looking for Mallory Dunlin during book crawl, or is that not on your list?
No, those
into
book crawl.
Book crawl days are coming up. They're in 1 week. Oh, I'm so excited. And we have our acquisition
out
list.
by the time?
Nope.
So you'll tune in later?
Oh yeah. I guess we can't tell you to go out and do book crawl or book. Well, you know what? At any time, you can take a weekend to go to all your indie bookstores and just spend money.
Yep.
You just won't get any cool prizes like we definitely got a couple weeks ago. Now that this episode we had a great time.
We had
I'm casting
I was
a spell.
exhausted.
Oh, I'm casting a spell for next week.
Okay.
We had a wonderful time.
Little manifestation there.
I got fewer books than you did.
No, you did not. There's no way. I have a list and I am sticking to it.
You've done a lot of work.
I have.
You, called ahead and planned.
I didn't call. I DM'd everybody on Instagram. I didn't
You,
call.
quote-unquote, called ahead
Yeah.
and made a plan. My plan extends to, I've had an ongoing, when there are books that came out that I'm like, ooh, I want to own this, instead of buying them, which would make me lose the month in this competition we have going, which I guess we also maybe haven't explained.
I don't think we have explained.
So instead of doing that, I throw it on my book crawl list. And so I have a list, but I think I tried to do that last year, but I have found that it's not optimal, except for places like Meet Cute and Mysterious Galaxy that have a very reliable and predictable inventory.
Yeah.
And I know exactly which ones I can get at those places, and the other ones are very much
But some of the other
maybe
stores have online shopping that you can check if they have a certain thing.
I just haven't
on deck.
done that work.
Okay. Well.
So this competition we have going.
It was my idea.
It was.
And I am not winning. I thought, this will be, this will help.
Is it helping? I mean, the point was to help, so as long as it's helping.
I don't know if it's helping.
Do I need to lose more so that you feel more motivated?
No, I'm not. No, don't give me a pity win. I don't need a pity win. Don't you dare give me a pity win.
I don't think you anticipated how much I'd be motivated by
I completely forgot how competitive you get. Like, you're just so bubbly and wonderful. And then you have this, like, absolutely murderously competitive streak.
Oh, I can win something? I'm not even winning anything.
There are no prizes.
No. But I'm
so
winning.
Back in January, I was like, you know what? I have so many books at home, and I'm redoing my bedroom with these new shelves. I'm just going to read the books I own.
And save money.
And save shelf space. Shelf space was the original one.
Right.
Money is after cancer treatments.
Funny how that happens.
And so I was like, we should do a competition. Every month, whoever buys a book first loses. That was it. And
was that the original?
That was the original, yeah. And then you went off on...
So I have no memory of that. All I remember is you being like, whoever can buy the fewest in a month wins.
Right, because I said, whoever buys a book first loses, and you were like, but what if we buy more than one book?
That sounds familiar. I was immediately looking for loopholes.
Yes. Took it and ran. So,
and I'm
what is it now?
To Brazil.
It's how many books.
So it's a little bit different for each person because we roped our number one fan Laura into this, and she has different vices. So
she don't have to worry about books.
So everyone has their personal spin at like what counts as a like loss.
Yes.
And in my case, it's any money spent on books
in a month.
Like ebooks, audio, like doesn't matter.
But you've spent money on books and stuff, right?
Very few.
Okay.
Very few.
So in months where we both buy something, if you spend less than I do, you win.
Well, we've been doing numbers of books. So there was like the one month where I literally spent $1, and that counted as one loss for me.
Okay. Well, in January, about a week and a half after I was like, hey, we should do this. Barnes & Noble had their...
immediately sabotaged.
Yeah. So I thought their Barnes & Noble's... they do this pre-order sale where if you buy books that aren't published yet, you get 25% off. And I thought that would be in February. So at least I'd have January. But they did it at the end of January, so I was like, well, at least I'll have February. And then...
Which you had guaranteed because I knew I was going to buy at least one book at the end of the month because...
Right.
That Faery was doing their release of House Moving Castle. And I was like,
and you said
this is the one book.
A virtual waiting list.
Yes, I sat
for
on a
like
stupid
3
queue
hours.
and my internet cut out when I was like at a good spot on the queue. And then like when my internet kicked back in, I was much further down in the queue. But then they released something on Twitter that my friend Rowan sent me saying, calm down. We're not running out of copies anytime soon. We know that the website isn't working. Chill out, everyone. And I was like, oh, okay. And I did manage to get it. It will arrive someday.
That's amazing.
Someday after the summer, I think.
Cool.
But yeah. But that was my one for February.
Yeah. Well, I thought I had January in the bag.
Yeah.
And then
you thought you had February in the bag.
And then I thought we had February in the bag, and then we started cancer treatments. And I did a little bit of retail therapy. Not like a ton, but like I definitely lost both February and March.
Yeah.
Because at a certain point,
Did you lose March too?
I must have. I've bought so many books.
Oh. I thought that was the one you might have done because I ended up going...
No, I think Laura actually talked me out of more books in February. And so March 1st, I was like, Changeling and the Dragon!
So you might have won February. I don't remember. I'll double check her.
I don't think I did win. But I got a lot closer than
I was so
March.
sure there was a month I lost, but...
And in April, Barnes & Noble had another pre-order sale. So...
Literally, like, what, today? Yesterday? You texted us
saying,
when
this comes out,
pre-order sale!
And I was pretty good this time. They're all either... The only hardcovers I got were... No, I did okay. I'm just gonna leave it at that.
Okay. And it's the whole point of splurging on pre-order sales. You're saving so much.
25% is a lot.
And they're ones you're pretty sure you want.
Yeah, like there was a Nevo and a Kingfisher. And
like guaranteed.
Yeah, like...
quantity.
Yes. And like one of the ones from the first pre-order sale was Kelly Link's first novel. Which like...
And you might have gotten me with this pre-order sale if I didn't have to front load for Netherlands. And again, if I were actually ready to sit down and do a pre-order purchase. But
I can't believe you're not ready. I'm always ready.
I have a list.
Always ready.
I have a list on Goodreads of future TBR that has, like, books I'm interested in reading. But, like, I would still have to sit down, log into Barnes & Noble, like, do the whole... Like, I'd have to set aside a time to actually decide which ones are actually worth pre-ordering and put them in my cart and do the whole purchase thing.
I do that.
But with the Netherlands... As they pop up on your radar?
As they pop up on my radar, yeah.
So they're sitting in your cart ready to go.
No, but, like, I have a list on my phone of titles and dates of when the paperback comes out.
So that's the other thing is I don't keep track of dates. It's just, like, a Goodreads tag. So I actually have to, like, go in and look at
Right, so I have the Goodreads thing, I have a Storygraph thing, and then I also have a manual thing on my phone.
I love it.
This is the only time I ever get really organized.
I love it.
Is which books should I buy when?
We had
Not
a really
which books may I buy when?
Right. We had a really great sheet in our mutual spreadsheet
We did.
specifically for pre-orders that I, like, stopped populating.
I updated it last December or something, but
I think I had,
you
like...
clearly weren't, so I quit.
I think I got burned by one of them, and so I
Really?
started being like, I should be way more cautious about what I choose to pre-order. But it is so fun to get them in the mail.
Yes. So nice. It's just such a fucking delight.
It's
And
such
there was a period of time in February and March where, like, I was getting the pre-orders that I had bought in January, and I was just too burned out and too tired and too upset to even enjoy it, so I just had a pile of books to open.
Yay!
And then I opened a pile of books and I had a bunch of books.
Christmas!
It was great, yeah.
So maybe once I've got my money back for the Netherlands trip, I can... The next pre-order.
Yeah. I don't think they do more than 2 a year. I sure hope they
that
don't do more.
That can't be true.
I sure
they've
hope
already
they
done
don't.
2. We're not even a third of the way through the year.
How many times a year could they do this, though?
Every quarter.
Oh, shit.
If I were them.
Fuck.
But how many pre-orders could you possibly have left? You've gotten them all. Right? No?
As I buy books through the year, I need their sequels. And or I've been putting off the purchase of books until their paperback comes out.
Oh, that's true. How many
That's
of those
more
could
common.
come out in 3 months? Another thing? There is the TJ Klune Cerulean Sea sequel that comes out this
I still haven't read
fall.
Cerulean Sea.
That's really sad for you.
I know.
It's so sweet. So sweet.
It's on the list. It's below Witch King, though, I'll be honest.
Do you have that one from me? Or do you have your own copy?
No, I have an
or-
ebook.
I do. If I were going to pick one
Really?
for you to read, I would pick Witch King.
Yeah. Yeah, I figured you would.
Yeah. If only for the best friend. Where's my wife?
I really like that. That was the vibe at the end of the Basilisk one. Burn it all down! And then maybe also make a few ill-advised bargains with the Fae. Those will come due in the next book.
Oh no! So, are you gonna, like, backtrack?
I am going to backtrack, but
Okay.
also, apparently...
I guess it's an arc, so it's not like the next
there's
one coming out
there's like
anytime soon.
a major minor character.
Uh-huh.
The love interest best friend sort of like took on his own like story in the middle, not in the middle. He evacuated courts with them and he's helped save the best friend. And he's his own character, and so like now he gets his own book. Yay! I'm really excited for that. He's a delightful little bastard.
Amazing good.
Yes.
So, we have to go get some ice cream. Time's a-wasting. It is ice cream time. So here's hoping.
You get your hands on some free books.
Free books.
Like How to Slay a Dragon by Mallory Dunlin.
And that really sends you down a great author rabbit hole of delight.
Don't judge it by the cover. Or do judge it by the cover. I don't know.
Yeah.
Whichever...
But you should definitely look up the cover. Either way. Thanks for listening. This has been another episode of Infinite TBR.
You can find us online at infinitetbr.com. You can email us at itbrshelf@gmail.com. And we're also on Instagram at
Infinite TBR Podcast.
and individually on Instagram.
At Gabalodon, which is like Megalodon, but with Gab in the front of it.
And at what_smack said, because Instagram locked me out of at what Smack said. So
Here we are.
here we are. See you next time.